Hello, welcome to the overview of project commitment tracking. Let's take a look at how commitments are implemented in the upgraded projects module. You can track purchase orders and sales orders by project as the project cost and revenue commitments respectively. This information adds visibility to the project execution status. Now, users can view not only the budget and actual amounts, but also how much of the original commitments remain open. Let's have a look at the scenario of project commitment tracking. Committed cost is tracked by lines of purchase orders associated with the project. The lines of normal and dropship type purchase orders are considered. Committed revenue is tracked by lines of sales orders associated with the project. These commitments are called internal because they originate from documents created in the system, in contrast to external ones that can be directly imported into Acumatica, which we will discuss later. Internal commitments are updated in real time as soon as the order line is changed, that is, the quantity or amount has been corrected or the order line is completed or cancelled. To enable internal commitment cost and revenue tracking, you have to select the Internal Commitment Tracking checkbox on the Project Preferences form. Once a purchase order that refers to the project is saved with the open status, the system creates a commitment tracker in the amount of extended cost of the purchase order line on the Documents Details tab of the Purchase Orders form. Each line of the order corresponds to a single commitment record. You can view the commitment records on the Commitments form. On the Commitments form, the original commitment amount is displayed in the Amount column of the line. At first, the open amount equals the original committed amount. Once a purchase order has been received, the system updates the received quantity and reduces the open amount of the commitment line in the amount proportional to the received quantity. The system updates the received quantity of the commitment line at a different moment of time, depending on type of the purchase order line. Commitment lines for purchase order lines that are processed by a purchase receipt are updated on release of the purchase receipt. Commitment lines for purchase order lines that are invoiced directly without processing of purchase receipts are updated on release of the accounts payable bill. Invoiced amount is updated in the amount of extended cost of the accounts payable bill line that is entered for the purchase order on the Bills and Adjustments form on release of the accounts payable bill. After a purchase order has been closed, the open amounts of the commitment lines become zero. If a purchase order has been received in part or cancelled, the incomplete amounts are also cleared from open amount. Committed costs are tracked in base currency only. Committed revenue is tracked by lines of sales orders associated with the project. To enable internal revenue tracking on the Order Types form, select the Commitment Tracking checkbox for the order type which the commitment tracking should be enabled in the system. Once a sales order that refers to the project is saved with the open status, the system creates a commitment tracker in the amount of extended price of the sales order line on the Document Details tab of the Sales Orders form. Similarly to purchase orders, each line of the sales order corresponds to a single commitment record. You can view the commitment records on the Commitments form. On the Commitments form, the original commitment amount is displayed in the Amount column of the line. At first, the open amount equals the original committed amount. Once a sales order has been received, the system updates the received quantity and reduces the open amount of the commitment line in the amount proportional to the shipped or invoiced quantity. The system updates the received quantity of the commitment line at a different moment of time, depending on type of the sales order line. Received quantity is updated with the shipped quantity on shipment confirmation for an order line that is processed by a shipment, or with invoiced quantity on release of sales order invoice for an order line that is invoiced directly without shipment processing. Invoiced amount is updated in the amount of the invoice line that is entered for the sales order on the Invoices form on release of the invoice. After a sales order has been completed, the open amount of the commitment line becomes zero. If a sales order has been delivered in part or cancelled, the incomplete amounts are also cleared from open amount. Return lines of orders are recorded as commitment lines with the negative sign if you enable commitment tracking for the respective return order type, for example, credit memo. Committed revenue amounts are tracked in base currency only. The default process on Validate Project Balances form recreates internal commitment records based on the amounts and quantities in the lines of sales orders for which the project commitment tracking is enabled, and in the lines of purchase orders associated with the project. Commitment data aggregated by the project budget line key is available on the respective columns of the revenue budget and cost budget tabs of the projects form. For a selected budget line, you can click View Commitments on the table toolbar to view the detailed commitment records on the commitments form. Project commitments do not necessarily have to originate from purchase orders or sales orders that exist in the system. You can import ready commitment records from an external system into Acumatica for further analysis against budget and actual figures in the system. These commitment records are called external, in contrast to internal ones that originate from documents created in the system. After the initial input, you can update these records as the project goes on and the respective open committed amounts and invoiced amounts change. Imported commitment records are designated with the external type on the commitments form and identified in Acumatica by the external reference number. You don't have to select the internal commitment tracking checkbox on the project preferences form to be able to import external commitment records. To create an external commitment record, you can click the Create External Commitment button on the commitments form and populate the necessary data in the form. The external commitments form is available for writing an import-export scenario to it and for access via web API. Commitment data is also available for project accounting analytical reports. In the sales demo dataset, you can use the following custom report to review the project commitment data: Project Budget versus Actual Report. We have reached the end of the demonstration, and by now you should have gained an understanding of project commitment tracking process. Thank you for watching.